You know, we take something like 20,000 breaths a day, completely on autopilot. But what if the one piece of advice we're always given, take a deep breath, is just flat out wrong? What if that one simple action is secretly sabotaging your health, draining your energy, and tanking your metabolism?
Now, I'm serious. Think about it for a second. Every time you're stressed, what's the first thing people say? Just take a big, deep breath. But what if that's the exact opposite of what your body needs? What if that big breath is actually flipping the stress switch inside your cells and, get this, starving them of oxygen?
It sounds completely backward, I know. It's a crazy paradox that's built right into our body's operating system. The idea that breathing more, breathing bigger, can literally suffocate your tissues. And understanding this one secret, well, it's the key to unlocking a level of health you probably didn't even know was possible. This is a quote from a woman named Rachel. She was 34, and she was struggling. We're talking chronic anxiety, terrible insomnia, and brain fog so bad she'd forget what she was saying mid-sentence. Her doctors tried everything, put her on all sorts of meds, but nothing was touching it. Why? Because the problem wasn't in her head. It was in how she was breathing.
So what is this big secret? Well, it all comes down to a tiny molecule we've been taught to think of as just a waste product, carbon dioxide, CO2. But it's not waste at all. In fact, it's the magic key to everything.
See, this all goes back to a discovery from over 100 years ago called the Bohr Effect. Way back in 1904, a scientist named Christian Bohr figured out that your blood can be totally jam-packed with oxygen, but none of it, and I mean none of it, actually gets delivered to your cells, to your brain, to your muscles, unless one specific molecule is there to make it happen: CO2. Okay, think of it like this. Your red blood cells are like a fleet of Amazon delivery trucks, and they're all loaded up with boxes of oxygen. They're driving all over your body, down every highway and side street. But they can't drop off the package unless they have the key to the customer's door. Well, CO2 is that key. If you don't have enough CO2, the trucks just drive right on by, and your starving cells are left watching their package get driven away.
And here's what that looks like in practice. It's a night and day difference. When we overbreathe, when we take those big, deep sighs, we blow off way too much CO2. We lose the key, so the oxygen stays stuck in the blood, our cells starve, and our metabolism just grinds to a halt. But when we breathe correctly and keep our CO2 at the right level, bingo, the oxygen gets released, our cells thrive, and our metabolism can finally fire on all cylinders.
Okay, so if this is so critical, why is basically everyone getting it wrong? It's because our modern world has created this silent epidemic of what's called chronic overbreathing.
And look, we're not doing it on purpose. We've just been conditioned by our environment, our habits, even by well-meaning advice from fitness gurus. It's literally rewired how we breathe without us even knowing it.
It really boils down to four main culprits. First, chronic stress. It keeps us in this constant low-grade fight-or-flight mode that makes us breathe faster. Second, habitual mouth breathing, which totally bypasses the nose's natural ability to slow our breath down. Third, you've got misguided fitness advice. The yoga teacher yelling, "Take a big breath in." That actually encourages this overbreathing. And finally, just sitting slouched over a desk all day. It physically restricts our ability to breathe properly. And the consequences here? They're huge. We are not just talking about feeling a little bit tired. This pattern of overbreathing kicks off a whole cascade of serious health problems, from your mental health all the way to your hormonal balance. Just look at this domino effect. You overbreathe, which lowers your CO2. That constricts your blood vessels, which reduces blood flow to the brain, and hello, brain fog. It also triggers more stress hormones, which makes you feel more anxious. It can suppress your thyroid function, which kills your metabolism. It can even impact fertility. You see? It's all connected.
And when it comes to anxiety, oh man, it creates this vicious, terrifying feedback loop. You feel stressed, right? So you start to breathe a little more. But breathing more lowers your CO2, which your body interprets as an emergency. So it releases more stress hormones, which makes you feel more stressed, which makes you breathe, you guessed it, even more. It's a cycle that is almost impossible to break unless you know what's really going on.
But let me show you what's possible when you fix this. This is Jennifer. She had a hypothyroidism diagnosis, was taking her medication, but still felt just awful, always cold, exhausted, foggy. Her average body temperature was way down at 97.3 degrees. After just 6 weeks of retraining her breathing, that's it. That's all she changed. Her temperature was up to 98.0. Her body was finally able to produce and use energy correctly. All right, so what about you? Are you stuck in this overbreathing trap?
Well, you don't need some fancy lab test to find out. In fact, you can figure this out for yourself, right now, in like the next 30 seconds, right where you're sitting.
We're going to do a really simple but incredibly powerful test called the control pause. What it does is it measures your body's tolerance to carbon dioxide, which is a direct window into how well your cells are getting oxygenated. So, you ready to try it?
Okay, here's exactly what to do. Just get comfortable in your chair and take a few normal, easy breaths. Now, after your next normal, quiet exhale, just gently pinch your nose closed and start a timer on your phone or just count in your head. Now, you're going to time how many seconds it takes until you feel the very first definite urge to breathe. The moment you feel that first little signal, stop the timer. Don't try to be a hero and push through it. The number you get, that's your score.
Okay, got your number? Let's break down what it means. If you scored under 20 seconds, you're in a state of pretty significant overbreathing, and there's a very good chance that this is the hidden root cause of any low energy, anxiety, or poor sleep you've been dealing with. The goal, the place where your cells are just getting showered with oxygen, is a score of 40 seconds or more.
So if your score was a little lower than you hoped, please do not freak out. This is totally 100% fixable. And the path forward isn't about adding more stuff, more supplements, more complicated diets. It's actually about subtraction. It's about learning to breathe less so you can live more.
The principles themselves are incredibly simple. But, and this is a big but, breathing is a habit you've had your entire life, right? So changing it takes some real, conscious, consistent effort. But I promise you, the results are so worth it. So here it is, the entire playbook. 4 simple principles. Number 1, breathe through your nose, all the time, 24/7, no exceptions. Number 2, breathe less. Your breathing should be so light and quiet that a person sitting next to you shouldn't even be able to hear it. Number 3, practice short, gentle breath holds every single day to build up that CO2 tolerance. And finally, number 4, and this one is a game changer, make sure you are breathing through your nose when you sleep.
So what's with this number? $3. That's the cost of maybe the single most powerful tool for changing your health overnight. It's a roll of simple medical tape. I know, taping your mouth shut before you go to bed sounds totally weird, but it forces your body to breathe through the nose all night long, which will dramatically improve your sleep and start raising your CO2 levels. All for $3?
Look, at the end of the day, your breath is foundational. When you get this right, you create the perfect environment inside your body for everything else to work better. Your energy, your mood, your focus, your sleep, all of it. So the real question isn't just about fixing your breath. It's about what you're finally going to have the energy and the clarity to build, to create, and to experience once you do. So what's next for you?